Good evening. Before we begin tonight's broadcast, I feel compelled to address a lapse in standards regarding our previous episode. It has been pointed out that during the match report, I did not merely mispronounce James Donachie's name, I effectively renamed him. I have reviewed the footage, and it appears I repeatedly referred to our defender as Don Archie. I wish to clarify that the Central Coast Mariners have not signed a fictional mafia boss who just wants to be your friend. Nor have we recruited the late American actor Don Ameche, star of Trading Places and Cocoon. Under normal circumstances, Martha and I undergo rigorous vocal training to ensure absolute linguistic precision. Red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather. Donachie, Don Archie, Don Ameche. Cocoon, The Return, Red Leather, Don Archie. I am honoured and grateful that you have invited me to your daughter's wedding. However, our producer informed us that vocal warm-ups were, quote, a waste of valuable bandwidth, so we went to air raw. The results, regrettably, speak for themselves. We apologise to the players, the fans, and the estate of Don Ameche. Good evening, and welcome to the CCMFans Report. I'm Arthur Fischel. Tonight, the Mariners played host to Melbourne City in conditions that could best be described as nautical. The wind was howling with such ferocity that the giant inflatable sauce bottles were removed from the stadium for their own safety.
And I'm Martha Fischel. It wasn't just windy, Arthur. It was 35 degrees on the eastern side. The only thing longer than the wait for a shot on goal was the queue for soft-serve ice cream. One fan noted there were 36 people lined up for a cone while the game was going on. Frankly, the ice cream was probably more exciting.
Indeed. The match finished 0-0, but getting there was an exercise in endurance. The first half consisted mostly of Melbourne City keeping the ball while the Mariners chased shadows. City held the majority of possession, and in the 35th minute, Andrew Redmayne was forced into a sharp save to deny Kanamori.
Redders was busy, but we did have that one moment shortly after. Sabit Noor put the ball in the net in the 40th minute, the crowd went up, and then the flag went up.
Yes, Noor finished beautifully, but unfortunately, replays suggest he was so far offside he was technically in Woy. That was our only real spark in a half where we faced a club known for its immense financial resources. And I must say, their spending power is becoming quite alarming.
How do you mean, Arthur?
Well, usually you can only buy players, but it appears the City Football Group has now found a way to purchase the wind direction. The gale favoured them in the first half, and then, defying all known laws of meteorology, switched to favour them again in the second.
It certainly felt like that. We were running into a hurricane for 90 minutes. It was a hard watch.
The second half saw City tighten their grip. They camped in our half, forcing corner after corner, while the Mariners' attack effectively went into hibernation. In fact, following Sabit Noor's offside effort in the first half, we went over an hour without troubling the goalkeeper. The defence held firm, led by James Donachie, and according to our legal department, I am pronouncing that correctly this time. However, the resistance came at a cost. In the 71st minute, Nathan Paul, who had been excellent, was forced off with an injury.
That was a blow. But Arthur, we have to talk about the forwards. Ryan Edmondson started up top and, well, did you see him?
Barely. He spent 67 minutes on the pitch, but he remained largely theoretical. At times, he appeared to be paddling gently upstream while the rest of the match flowed past him. It wasn't a disaster, Martha. It was just 67 minutes of very little consequence.
Look, it was a mess out there. The only bright spot was Andrew Redmayne. And I don't just mean his saves. I mean his kit. As one sharp-eyed fan pointed out, in that all-purple ensemble, he looked exactly like the hazelnut caramel from a tin of Quality Street. Bright purple, shiny, and the only treat we got all afternoon.
The statistics paint a grim picture. Just 42% possession and 3 shots on goal for the entire 90 minutes.
Even the City goalkeeper, Patrick Beach, looked miserable. One fan said he looked like someone had just dug him up. But we took a point against a top side in a windstorm. We didn't lose, and we kept a clean sheet. It wasn't a thriller, Arthur. It wasn't even a mild distraction. But against that lot, I'll take the point.
Quite right. A point earned and a match that will not live long in the memory. For a reaction from the terraces that I'm sure will be measured and articulate, we cross live to the fan in the pub.
Thanks, Archie. I tell you, it's a I'm right, and then and I'm and then the line
Always good to hear from the fans.
Such passion, even if he does need his eyes checked regarding the offside rule.
We'll have to leave that there. To confirm exactly how little happened on the pitch, we go to our data analyst, Anna Lytics. Anna, do the numbers justify the boredom?
Statistically, yes. The excitement levels were critically low. The Mariners finished with an expected goals figure of 0.29. To put that in perspective, you have a higher statistical probability of finding a parking spot at the stadium 5 minutes before kickoff.
And the shot count?
We had just 3 shots to City's 14. However, our boredom metrics were off the charts. The match was so dull that fans on the forum resorted to archaeology. One user dug up a post from 2009, 16 years ago, just to call another user a hypocrite.
16 years?
Yes. Other users pointed out they weren't even born when the original post was written. When the football is that bad, the fans will find their own entertainment, usually by fighting each other.
Thank you, Anna. To help us break down the tactical deficiencies in the final third, we turn to our technical analyst, Viktor Grassfeld. Viktor, let's look at the distribution. With the high winds affecting the long ball, how did you assess our transition play?
Arthur, in my country, we say the wind is the only referee who does not accept a bribe. Tonight, the ball was not a ball. It was a leaf. The players tried to tell the leaf where to go, but the leaf has its own destiny.
I think the Leaf spent most of the night in our penalty box, Victor.
Moving to the attack, we recorded an XG of just 0.29. Tactically, why were we unable to construct any meaningful offensive phases?
Arthur, you look at the 0 and you see a number. I look at the 0 and I see a circle. It has no beginning, no end. It is the shape of a wheel that goes nowhere. Tonight the goal was a mouth that refused to open. Both teams were hungry, Arthur, but neither knew how to peel the fruit.
A damning assessment. Finally, Victor, Ryan Edmondson. We described his performance as theoretical. Tactically, was he isolated or just ineffective?
Arthur, if you sit in a boat and row without putting the oars in the water, you make a lot of movement, but you do not go anywhere. Ryan Edmondson was rowing, Arthur, but his oars were in the air. To the wind, he was just a statue that breathes.
Profound. You simply don't get that level of tactical insight anywhere else. Thank you, Victor. Time now for the Mooned Report. Under Warren Moon this season, the tally stands at Mooned 2. Lunar Eclipsed 2, and now 2 half-moons.
Although after a 0-0 draw in a hurricane, Dark Side of the Moon feels more appropriate. Or perhaps just no moon.
We stick to the official terminology, Martha. Moving to the tables, the men sit 7th on the ladder with a perfectly symmetrical record. The women currently sit 10th.
But next week is a busy one. We are back at home for a double header.
On Saturday, December 6th, Polytec Stadium plays host to both sides. The women kick off at 5 p.m. against Newcastle.
The Scum.
Followed by the men facing Sydney FC at 7:35 p.m. Hopefully the football will be a bit more stimulating than it was tonight.
I hope so. It was so dull today that one fan on the forum claimed they heard a call for 4 minutes of added excitement during stoppage time.
Did they really?
I think they were just hallucinating from the boredom, Arthur.
Indeed. Let us also hope for the return of the giant sauce bottles.
Yes. It'll be nice to stand next to a large, stiff object that actually has a bit of personality.
Right. Until next time, this has been the CCM Fans Report.
Love you, dear.
Good night.